Proxy war tactics, how powers fight without direct combat, over 500,000 dead in Syria, hundreds of thousands in Afghanistan, nearly 500,000 in Iraq. But here's the disturbing truth: the superpowers who orchestrated these conflicts never fired a shot at each other. Welcome to the invisible hand of modern warfare. When nations clash, the deadliest battles aren't always fought by their own soldiers. From the Cold War to modern conflicts in Syria and Ukraine, major powers have perfected the art of warfare by proxy, achieving strategic goals while keeping their fingerprints off the trigger. Today, we'll explore how this shadowy form of combat works and why it's become the preferred method of conflict in our nuclear age. A proxy war occurs when external powers support local combatants in an existing conflict, providing weapons, funding, and training while avoiding direct military confrontation themselves. These third parties don't participate in actual fighting to any significant extent, enabling major powers to avoid direct confrontation while competing for influence and resources. The relationship is characterized by direct, long-term geopolitical connections where political sponsorship transforms into military sponsorship as powers fund soldiers and materiel to sustain proxy forces to victory. Think of it as warfare by remote control, but the consequences are devastatingly real. Proxy warfare relies on several key tactics that allow sponsor states to project power while maintaining distance. Arms and equipment supply. The most fundamental tactic involves sponsor states funding soldiers and their materiel to equip proxy armies to launch, fight, and sustain wars. During the Soviet-Afghan War, the US funded Afghan Mujahideen against invading Soviet forces through Operation Cyclone, contributing to the Soviet Union's eventual collapse. Training and advisory support. Support can be either material, such as weapons, intelligence, and supplies, or immaterial, including training, advising, and political advocacy for the cause. Proxies provide valuable local tactical, cultural, and linguistic knowledge that deployed foreign soldiers typically lack. Financial backing. Beyond weapons, sponsor states provide the economic lifeblood that keeps proxy forces operational. This includes everything from soldier salaries to logistics and infrastructure support. Intelligence sharing. Modern proxy warfare increasingly involves sophisticated intelligence cooperation. The United States partnered with local rebel militias against ISIS, providing operational, technical, and logistic support, while local forces led combat operations and suffered the bulk of casualties. Plausible deniability. Operations are carried out to keep hidden the hand of the sponsoring nation, making it possible to deny involvement. Private military companies. The Wagner Group exemplifies modern proxy tactics, operating in Syria, Libya, and Africa, while providing whoever funds them with deniability. These mercenary forces blur the lines between state and non-state actors. So, we've seen how proxy wars work: the weapons, the training, the shadowy funding networks. But here's the real question: why would the world's most powerful nations, with trillion-dollar militaries at their disposal, choose to fight their wars through someone else? The answer reveals the cold calculus of modern geopolitics. Why do nations choose this indirect approach? The reasons are both strategic and practical. Liberal democracies may engage in proxy warfare despite military superiority if citizens oppose declaring conventional war, a dynamic that featured prominently in US strategy following the Vietnam War. During the Cold War, fears that armed conflict between the United States and Soviet Union would result in nuclear holocaust made using ideological proxies a safer way to conduct hostilities. Geopolitical factors, including security and diplomatic concerns, typically serve as primary motives, with major powers usually engaging in proxy wars from a sense of acute vulnerability to other states' actions. Proxy wars allow states to win strategic victories, maintain the status quo, meddle in unfriendly states, or simply maintain chaos to prevent consolidation of hostile power. President Dwight Eisenhower called proxy wars the cheapest insurance in the world, a cost-effective alternative to full-scale military intervention that reduces political, financial, and human costs for the sponsor nation. Yet proxy warfare carries significant dangers. The relationship between sponsors and proxies is characterized by principal-agent problems where sponsors may be unable to control proxy actions. Risks include facilitating the emergence of dictatorships inconsistent with democratic values, widening local conflicts through weapons proliferation, and reducing incentives for diplomatic solutions. The Syrian conflict's death toll has exceeded over 500,000, with more than 13 million people forced to flee their homes. The conflict in the Middle East between Saudi Arabia and Iran has resulted in nearly 500,000 deaths in Iraq since 2003. The human cost remains astronomical regardless of which distant power pulls the strings. Proxy warfare represents the evolution of great power competition in an age where direct conflict risks mutual destruction. As technology advances and geopolitical tensions persist, understanding these tactics becomes crucial for comprehending the conflicts shaping our world. Wars fought not on open battlefields, but through the blood and soil of distant lands.